I lost 20 pounds in 2 months with these 3 at-home workout strategies. And in today's video, I'm gonna break down each one so that whether you're training at home, a hotel, or you find yourself traveling and you just wanna stay on track with your fitness, these will work beautifully if you're trying to get in shape. What's up guys, Josiah Novak of thetruetransformation.com. Over the past 6 months, I got in really good shape. Actually, 4 months ago, I started really getting serious about shredding up for the summer. We had a live event with our team, TT Live 2024, and I wanted to get just super diced. So I actually got down to about 9% body fat, a little bit under 9%, but I did it in 2 months. I lost 20 pounds in 2 months, and a lot of that training was done right here in my home gym. Now, I'm blessed to have a really well put together home gym, but there's some simple stuff that I wanna show you today that I do on a regular basis that really contributed to my weight loss. So let's just jump right into the first thing that I have in my routine. So the first thing that I have in my routine, and this is one of my key at-home workout tools, is this thing you see right here. And this happens to be a good old-fashioned jump rope. So shout out to my 80s babies who grew up jumping rope in the streets, at school, hopscotch, jumping around like crazy people. This thing became a tool when I was just a young kid. I didn't have a lot growing up. I didn't have video games. It was just me, my imagination, my backyard, and stuff like the jump rope. So anyway, the jump rope was just a fun thing growing up. But then when I got to college, me and a buddy who were like adamant about trying to get in better shape at the time, we were new personal trainers and we were trying and testing every possible method on earth. The jump rope became an easy way for us to wake up and do our morning fasted cardio. We used to think that fasted cardio would like rapidly help us burn fat. We were totally off. Yes, it helps you burn fat, but ultimately the jump rope is an easy tool that busy guys like us can take anywhere and everywhere. You can roll this thing up, put it in a suitcase, put it in a travel bag, and it goes everywhere you go. So one of my morning routines that I started in college was I would get up, unpack the jump rope, and I would do about 20 minutes of jumping rope. Now, I'm not doing like the crazy CrossFit, double unders and all that nonsense, which is great. If you're athletic and you can handle that, by all means, knock yourself out. I'm talking just a really straightforward, nice, easy pace, single jumps, just get into the flow. You can do one leg, hop around with one leg to the next, kind of like the boxer jumping rope, but the jump rope is a quick way to get more movement in. If you don't have access to a treadmill, if you don't have access to a bike, it's raining outside, or you're just like, I just don't feel like going for a walk. Just wanna mix it up. The jump rope is a really good tool. Once again, I love it because I can take it anywhere I go. So if I'm going on a trip, going on a work trip or a vacation, this thing can go in a suitcase, it can go wherever, and it's not gonna take up a lot of space. So how much do you jump rope or how much should you jump rope? I would say a good place to start is just 5 minutes. Just get the form down, right? Just take 5 minutes, work on steady pace, good form, keeping your arms nice and tight, using your wrist to jump, and quickly you'll get much better at jumping rope. What kind of jump rope do you need? I would just get like a standard speed rope. You don't have to get the fancy ones yet. I don't even know where I got this thing, to be honest. I found it, I think, on Amazon, but I've had it for years now. I think I've had this thing for like 12 years. So it's lasted a heck of a long time. So the jump rope is typically something I'll do a few times a week in the morning. Usually it's when I'm like, I just don't feel like going for a walk, or I know I have something to do and I don't wanna like rush out on a walk and then have to hurry back. This is a great tool. The other thing too that I'll just throw in there, for those of you who like eventually wanna get better at running, this is a really good way to condition your calves, your Achilles, and your feet to get prepared for some of the beating it might take or they might take as you jump into running. I started jumping rope, like I said, years and years ago when I was a kid, and then I did a lot of it when I was in college. But it's always been a part of my routine, and I credit my ability to run a lot more to the work I put in, because I'm a bigger guy. I'm not like your standard runner physique. I'm 215, 220, sometimes a little lighter, sometimes a little heavier. And so when I start running a lot, my lower half takes a beating. So the jump rope can be a great tool to just improve your lower half conditioning. The second thing at my home workout / travel / anywhere routine that I would do when I was losing 20 pounds over the course of 2 months is what I would call a controlled dumbbell circuit. So if you're gonna invest in some home workout equipment, I would start with a couple things. Number one, I would start with an adjustable bench. And a bench like this, I actually picked this thing up think back in the early part of 2020, when gym equipment was still relatively cheap and inexpensive. It's not the greatest bench in the world. Are there better benches out there? Sure, I'd like to have one that has a seat on the lower half that adjusts too. This one doesn't, it's stationary, but the upper part adjusts, so I can go super high incline, I can go straight up 90 degrees, or I can lay it flat. Anyway, a bench is just a really good tool, and it contributes really well to being able to jump into what I call the controlled circuit, which of course leads me to the next tool that I think you should have in your home gym or use at home, and that is a pair of dumbbells. Now, I would suggest having at least 2, maybe 3 pairs of dumbbells. What I would do is I would look at a super light pair of dumbbells, something like, and for me, once again, this is super light, but 20s, maybe for you it's 10s, that you can use for accessory movements, like a couple that I'm about to show you here in a minute. Then I would go for a moderately heavy dumbbell, one that you'll be able to use for some compound movements, like, once again, things I'm about to show you. And then a super heavy pair of dumbbells that you can use for big time compound movements, like a dumbbell squat, a dumbbell deadlift, or a dumbbell bench press. Something that's gonna make it challenging for some of those more compound exercises. Of course, over time, you may have to add to that collection. And I know dumbbells are not the cheapest thing on earth, but they are gonna be a massive investment in your health and fitness. So if you're out there and you're like, hey, I'm serious about taking care of my body and I wanna be able to do it at home, get yourself a bench, get yourself 3 sets of dumbbells, and at very worst, just get yourself a moderately heavy pair of dumbbells and a heavier set of dumbbells to push yourself a little bit, and then add to the collection every 6 to 12 months as you get stronger. So let me show you my go-to at-home upper body controlled circuit. Now, why is this called a controlled circuit? Well, we're gonna go through it in rotation. So we're not gonna do one exercise for 3 sets and then move on to the next one. We're gonna do one exercise of each, or we're gonna do one set of each exercise all the way through as a circuit, but it's a controlled circuit. So I'm not trying to rush through. It's not a superset where I'm trying to go as fast as humanly possible through the circuit. I'm gonna take my time. I'm gonna make sure I'm rested and I'm ready for the next exercise before I jump into it, all right? And the reason why I like these controlled circuits is it kind of mixes it up a little bit. It keeps things a little more interesting. The pace feels a little faster. I typically get more done. I can get more volume done for like the upper body, which I'm about to show you now. And when I was losing weight, sometimes I only had 20, 30 minutes to get a workout in. And it's like, okay, I could do a couple exercises, but what if I could just do 3 or 4 exercises in rotation and just have a little bit more variety? Maybe I only get through the rotation twice. That's okay. I did a little bit more variety, enjoyed the workout a little bit more. And when you're training at home, sometimes like that's the name of the game, right? You're in your house, there's distractions, my kids are running around, my wife's asking me to do stuff. Like I have a life, right? A typical person who's got a busy schedule. So I'm not outside in the gym sometimes where I'm like focused in the zone, need stuff to kind of just keep it moving here in the gym. So let me show you my go-to upper body circuit. And we're gonna start with an incline dumbbell bench press. So we'll jump into that right now. So that's exercise number 1, incline dumbbell bench press. For the purpose of this circuit today, I'm aiming for about 10 to 12 reps per exercise. Now, I'm gonna take like 30 to 45 seconds, which some of that will be me just setting up the next exercise, which in this case is gonna be an incline prone dumbbell row. So I'm literally just turning around. I'm actually gonna use the same exact weight. By the way, just so you guys know, I'm dealing with a little bit of like a pec strain right now. I'm not sure what happened. Injuries happen. Sometimes they happen randomly. I think what it was I was at the lake with our family and I was throwing kids in the air into the water. I just strained my pec because I was doing it for like hours and hours. So anyway, yes, even I'm capable of having little aches and pains. So my chest is a little funky right now. So I'm not, normally we go a lot heavier. These are like 65s. But it's just stimulation. I'm not trying to add a ton of weight to my bench press right now. So I'm gonna turn around. I'm gonna get on the incline. And we're doing incline rows. All right, so 10 to 12 reps on the incline row. Little bit of rest, and now we're moving back to a push, technically a push. In this case, we're doing side dumbbell laterals. Our front of our shoulder is getting a little bit of work with the incline bench. So once again, you kind of go based off of feel, right? So you're like, I'm not trying to rush, you know, I don't need to be out of breath and struggling to get it in. It's like, all right, controlled circuit, you know, it's almost like, in some cases you might be resting the same amount as you would just doing one exercise at a time, but it's just a little faster pace. So we're grabbing a pair of light dumbbells, like I said, 10 to 12 dumbbell side laterals. So you'll notice, just as a tip too, the accessory movements, they just tax you a whole lot less, right? I'm like, not even out of breath. It's almost like I caught my breath while doing an accessory movement that is just targeting the outside head of the shoulder. So now I got a couple options here. I can go back to doing a pull, which I probably will. I'll do a shrug. I'll show you in a second. But sometimes I'm like, you know what? I feel like just being a little bit flexible, doing something that just comes to mind, like, you know, I feel like I need a little bit more work for a certain body part. So right now I'm like, I really wish I could just do some pull-ups. So a pull-up bar might be something that you have in your home gym. I have a little setup here where this kind of functions as a pull-up bar. It's a rack, but you can do pull-ups on this. I have a TRX attached to this too, which would also help when traveling or at home with limited equipment. A TRX is a great piece of equipment, but in some cases I'm like, hey, I just want to mix it up. Yes, I want to do shrugs next, but I'm feeling a little bit of pull-ups. Anyway, just as an FYI, that's just something to consider when you're doing this controlled circuit. But what I'm actually going to do is an incline shrug. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is I'm working my traps, which actually is a big part of your back. People don't realize it's a pretty massive part of your back. You can just see the top of them from the front, but it runs all the way down to the center of your back. So I'm setting the bench in an incline. I'm gonna brace myself on the incline similar to the row, but this time I'm doing shrugs, all right? And this just takes some of the momentum out of your normal dumbbell shrug where you might start throwing the weight around a little bit. This really just helps isolate the traps a little bit. So grabbing a pair of dumbbells. We're here and we're just shrugging up. You might be thinking, didn't you kind of work your traps already with the row? And the answer is yes, absolutely. I'm just doing a little bit more direct work. All right, so that's that. Now I'll jump into a body weight exercise. In this case, I'm gonna do close grip push-ups to come back to the pushing movement. Working some triceps, yes, you'll get some chest work, but it's a great finisher. Once again, you can do this anywhere. So keeping my hands a little closer together, elbows in tight. 12 or so push-ups, all right? So then you could have the option of just going right back to it. I need a little bit extra bicep work, so I'm just gonna grab a pair of dumbbells and I'm gonna do slow and controlled, simultaneous dumbbell curls, 10 to 12, just getting a good squeeze, getting a little pump. And then I'm gonna go back to where we started, which is the incline dumbbell bench press. That's like one of my favorite rotations for a controlled circuit. And like I said, when I was losing 20 pounds in 2 months, these controlled circuits were a huge part of my routine, especially on days where I couldn't make it to the gym. I have a lower body one too. If you wanna see my lower body circuit, I'll make another video just like this. Just comment below and say, yeah, I wanna see the lower body version of the controlled circuit, and we'll make it for you, no problem. All right, so let's go to number 3. All right, guys, number 3, for those of you who have dogs, well, this is your new fat loss partner in crime. I got 2 dogs, that's why I'm shredded. Double the fat loss. But in all seriousness, one of the things I always do at home, my home routine, always involves walking. I will walk every single day until the day I'm no longer here. Hopefully that day's a long time from now. But walking is a superpower for so many reasons. Yeah, it burns calories. It definitely burns more calories than just you sitting at a desk. Way more calories, actually. But it's also a tremendous benefit to your mental health. And, you know, I reference mental health a lot in our coaching programs because mental health is 100% related to your physical health. You know, the body follows the mind, vice versa. So, number 3 in my routine to lose 20 pounds in 2 months, don't ignore the trash, is a daily walk. Specifically, usually, I would say midday. And there's a number of reasons for that, once again. Number 1, typically by the middle of the day, I'm starting to feel, you know, the grind a little bit. I run a really well-run coaching company with a team of amazing people who just do an incredible job. But I even tell them, like, hey, sometimes you got to take a break. You know, you got to recharge. A mentor of mine encourages, you know, little pockets of recovery throughout the day. And when you think of recovery, you might think like, all right, I'm just going to go lay around, do nothing. And sometimes, yeah, you do need that. Maybe a meditation session. But for me, recovery is just very low intensity movement. I like to take my dogs out. They need to get out, get some fresh air, get some vitamin D3, the natural way. The dogs are a big part of my routine now because it forces me to have to get out and get active, right? It's like having an extra set of accountability partners, you know. Yeah, I could lay around and relax for 20 minutes, but why not get some steps in, right? Why not get their steps in? The running joke was like, if your dog needed to lose weight, what would be the things you do? And one of the first things people usually say is, oh, I take it for more walks, right? So if you're gonna take your dog out, like, why not go out yourself, you know, get some steps in. Make sure your dog gets the healthy lifestyle too. This is not a video for dogs, but ultimately, for those of you who have pets, you have a great cardio partner sitting there waiting for the daily walk. So daily walk for me, typically, like I said, consists of 20 minutes, pretty much every day. But sometimes if I have more time, I'll take the dogs out twice and I'll get, 30-minute walk in twice a day. Your time is gonna be unique to you. What you have time for will be dictated by what you put as a priority and what you have as responsibilities. So I'm not here to tell you like, hey, you have to do this if you wanna lose weight. My challenge over the years has been, first of all, I stay lean year round. So when I go into a fat loss phase, it's already dipping into body fat that my body really doesn't wanna lose. I maintain a healthy level of body fat year round. So my challenge has been like, I don't like to stay in a deficit for very long. So if I'm gonna be in a deficit, I like to be in and out. I like to be short and sweet. And I hope you get there soon at some point too, where you're like, yeah, I maintain 10 to 14% body fat year round. When I wanna dip into crazy shredded level, it's a 6 to 8 week cut. And that's me, right? I don't wanna do anything longer than that. So when I'm in that mode and I'm at home a lot, it's typically 2 walks a day. And I make time for it because I don't want to be in a deficit for very long. So I want to get the fat off as fast as I can and then come back to a sustainable routine, which is, your daily 20-minute walk. I think that's maybe even 30. If you have time for more, man, like do it. Don't let me stop you. Do an hour a day, do 2 hours a day if you got the time. If it's low intensity walking outside, it's good for you, But these 2 dogs are a pain in my butt, but they also help me lose my butt. Hey, so if you're a guy over the age of 40 watching this, and you're disciplined in pretty much every part of life. You've had success with your career, with your family, you're taking great vacations, you're just living a pretty good life. But when you look in the mirror, you're just not happy with your body. And a part of you is starting to think, man, if I continue down this road over the next 20, 30 years, I'm gonna have some big time health problems. Maybe you have friends who have health problems already. You don't want to be one of those guys. You want to be the guy who is in shape, maybe the guys that you see who are your age or older even, walking around in shape, lean, no gut, low body fat. If that's you, that's who we help. The True Transformation is a lifestyle brand designed to help you put fitness as a permanent part of a very sustainable and enjoyable lifestyle so you can look, feel, and perform at your best. If you want to learn about the program, check out the link in the description, check out the link in the first comment, schedule a call with me or my team. We'll walk you through the whole thing. It'll be super simple, and we can decide together if it makes sense to work together. Either way, limited spots available. We only take on about 5 clients a week because we want to offer the best service, hands-on, fully customized, everything built for you, and it's ongoing for coaching, success, and support that you need to build that sustainable routine. So check that out. Life moves fast, make it count. Make it count starting right now.